Hey, it's Sam from ERIK'S.
And I'm Morgan, and today we'll be talking about a new brand here at ERIK'S, Rocky Mountain. We'll be sitting down with some of the fine folks from Rocky to talk to them about their brand history and ethos, as well as some of the key technologies.
Let's see what they have to say.
Eric the Bike Man!
I'm here with Chris Newland from Rocky Mountain. He's our USA Sales Director. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks, it's good to be here.
At ERIK'S, we focus on finding brands that make great quality products because we want our customers to have the best experience possible when enjoying their free time. And I'm sure you'd agree that the time we spend on trails with friends, family, or solo is precious, and having the right, reliable tool for the job gives us peace of mind. So, Love the Ride is your brand's motto. Will you explain the importance of that and what it means to you all at Rocky?
Oh, that's a good question. Love the Ride is pretty simple. It's a basic embodiment of everything about getting out on the trail with your friends. So one example would be to even before you get out there, riding can be hard at times. You're going to fail. You're going to have moments where you're actually good at riding bikes. But there's that one period where things kind of come together. It feels good. You look around. You are where you are. And that's what we're looking for each time we get on a bike.
ERIK'S shares the ethos that's embodied in that motto, Love the Ride. It's that feeling and that passion that has kept us going forward since our start in 1977. Can you tell me a little bit about the start of Rocky Mountain?
Yeah, sure. 1981, the brand was founded. That was kind of the birth of mountain biking in Canada. And while things were happening throughout the world, it's pretty unique because of the location in North Van. So there were a lot of people riding bikes in the woods up there, and the North Shore trails are rooty, technical, rocky, and steep. And the trails that people ride today, where you see the wood bridges and the giant boulder rollovers, those were happening back then, and the bikes just weren't built for it. So most everything was breaking. So Rocky was really first and foremost creating bikes to free ride. And fast forward a couple, 10 years, we had the first free ride based team. So the brand has really been all about building bikes for the counterculture of a counterculture movement.
Love that. I love that Rocky Mountain has early roots in mountain biking history, but what you've done to really promote and grow free ride is pretty unique. And while we don't get the luxury of riding all that gnarly stuff you get up in Vancouver, BC, what our riders do have access to is that versatility. I mean, from here you can drive within an hour's time and really get XC trails, flow, jump lines, even some lift service. So what we like here at ERIK'S is the versatility that you bring to your bikes, adaptability for the rider.
Yeah, it sounds like most of our technologies fit what your riders would specifically need in the Midwest, where they're riding cross-country, trail, everything sometimes in the same weekend. So, I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And with us Weekend Warriors and that opportunity to ride different trail, we really love that what you've brought to Rocky Mountain is adaptability that's for us garage mechanics. I mean, a lot of the tech is something that you can do trail side. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Ride 4, Ride 9, and the two-position dropouts, all of those changes and adaptations you can make on your bike that will change the head tube angle, the bottom bracket height, and the chainstay length, which really change how the bikes ride. Those can all be done with tools you find in the average person's backpack. So it's trail side, and it's really, really approachable for even non-mechanical folks.
And Rocky Mountain really does a great job of making technical, cutting-edge product, but rider first and simplicity in mind. And that's even reflected in your website.
Yeah, our website, our URL is bikes.com, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, simple and no fluff. I really like that. And on that website, you really make everything that a rider would need accessible. So anything from tech manuals and different setup related to your technology. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's really all right there. Most everything we make is really it's point and shoot. Our product is pretty point and shoot, and that's reflected in our website and approach. So it's easy to navigate, and for everything from how to fix something to how to set your bike up to suggested rider weights and sizes, it's pretty straightforward.
So not only does Rocky make very adaptable bikes that you can tune for the rider or the terrain, but you also offer a very wide product mix. Can you tell me a little bit about the lineup and what we'll be stocking here at ERIK'S?
Sure, I'd love to. You guys are stocking everything from our cross-country oriented Element, which is a super capable cross-country bike, to trail bikes. We have the Growler, a hardtail offering. We have an Instinct, which is a full suspension trail bike that's really ready for anything in the Midwest. If you want to get even more rowdy, we have the Altitude, which is an enduro bike. It's one of the most winning enduro bikes ever to hit the race circuit, which is pretty cool. You have Fusion and Soul, which are more entry-level hardtails, which is fantastic. And lastly, the Blizzard, which is the best fat bike ever.
Can you tell me a little bit more about enduro? Now, obviously we're in the Midwest here, born in BC, but there's a spirit to that I'd like to pull out a little bit.
Yeah, enduro is great for the Midwest because while we have a burgeoning lift serve here, for the most part, you got to get up to get down. And our Altitude, which is part of the enduro scene, it's an enduro bike, you have to climb physically. You have to ride your bike up whatever you go down. So an enduro race, you have to climb. Our bike is one of the best climbing bikes with that much travel on the market. It really climbs like a much smaller travel product.
That's a great overview on the analog bikes, but I know you have offerings in electric.
Yeah, absolutely. This year, I think you guys are getting rolling with the Fusion to start, but we've had our own power plant, if you will, called Power Play, and it's an intuitive system that's based completely on rider input. It's super unique in the marketplace, and I think you guys are going to love it.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing growth there, so excited that you have something to offer as well. And moving on from mountain bikes, you also have something in the gravel arena, right?
That's right. Yeah, this year we released the Solo. We're really, really excited about it. It's a very, very versatile, capable gravel bike for more towards adventure than race, and it's really going to be a comfortable, fun bike that most everybody can throw a leg over and have a good time on.
Yeah. And you bring elements of versatility with that too. I noticed lots of braze-ons. You can pack it up or ride it hard, however you'd like to.
Yeah, just like the rest of our bikes, we're trying to make something as versatile as possible, but always, the ride quality comes first.
We are stoked to be offering Rocky Mountain at ERIK'S. With many model options plus thoughtful design adaptability that really allows you to tune the bike for the rider and the terrain, riding a Rocky feels limitless. So thanks for chatting with us, Chris.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Now, let's go deeper into what makes Rocky unique.
It's time to talk about tech. I'm Sam from ERIK'S, sitting down with Ken Paris, product manager at Rocky Mountain. And we're going to dive into some of the Rocky's unique tech and talk about how it can make you love the ride that much more. How are you, Ken?
I'm doing great, thank you. Excited to talk tech today.
Me too. Quick note, not all of the following features we're going to talk about are on all the bikes, but this info will let you better navigate Rocky Mountain's bike lines, helping you get to know them better at a glance. Now Ken, I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about SmoothLink.
Sure thing. SmoothLink is the linkage design used on Rocky Mountain's full suspension bikes. It gives us an efficient and supple ride feel while still being able to take a hit when it counts. The two main advantages to the SmoothLink system are minimal chain growth, which reduces pedal bob, making you climb more efficiently, and a linear rising rate, which gives a more responsive rebound and compression damping adjustment, all while giving you a bottomless feel throughout the travel. SmoothLink is a true 4-bar suspension system, isolating the rear brake, so it doesn't affect the linkage performance, making sure you have consistent confidence no matter where you're riding.
That's great. I've also read that you guys have size-specific tunes for your bike, correct?
Yeah, we do. We make sure that we tune the suspension depending on the size of the bike, giving riders the same experience across the whole size range.
That's awesome. I'm glad to see people on both ends of the size spectrum will have the same feel because, as some of you may know, that's not always the case. Another part of the linkage I wanted to look at was the Ride 4 and Ride 9 systems. Taking a closer look, we can see the adjustment system at the lower connection point for the shock. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Absolutely. So depending on which bike we're discussing, you can have either 4 or 9 different positions on the suspension link. So either system will allow you to truly dial in the feel of your bike. The best part is you only need a 4mm and a 5mm Allen key to make adjustments. although a torque wrench is also recommended. This allows you to easily play around and see what works best for you and the trail. If you ride in a lot of different locations, you can easily tune the geometry so you always have the perfect ride. The Ride Force system uses a single square chip that you can put in any position to change the characteristics of the suspension. The Ride 9 system uses 2 interlocking chips to expand the number of positions available to choose from. We provide geocharts like this one that will show how the geo changes with each position. There'll be a lot of personal preference involved too, so don't be afraid to try a bunch. Just make sure not to make too many changes all at once and enjoy the process.
Yeah, these systems are incredible. The first one I saw was Ride 9, and I was blown away at how elegant of a solution it was. So much adjustability with a simple design. This brings an incredible amount of versatility to the bikes without the need to swap any parts. One last thing on suspension, I know the Carbon Altitude and Instinct models have a modular shock mount. What's up with that?
Well, the modular shock mount on the top tube can be switched out for future suspension kinematic adjustments. So in fact, the future is now, as we just released the MX mount for the Carbon Altitude models. The MX mount lets you set up an Altitude 2.9 as a mullet bike with a 29er wheel on the front and a 27.5 wheel on the rear, while keeping a similar geometry to the stock Altitude. This helps you corner faster, whip around the rear more, and give you extra clearance and confidence on those steep downhill lines.
Nice. Just when I think it's over, it keeps getting better. Well, we are going to move away from suspension now. This next feature is also about adjustability. The Altitude and Instinct models, including the alloy versions, include 2-position dropouts for the rear wheel. Can you tell us about the advantages of that?
Yeah, flipping between the 2 positions will move the rear wheel forward or backwards by 10 millimeters. Having the axle closer to the front of the bike is the short position, and having it closer to the rear is the long position. The short position will have quicker handling for tech sections and tight corners, while the long position gives a more stable ride at high speeds. This adjustment feature also uses only a few Allen wrenches, a 5, 6, and 8 millimeter wrench to be exact. It's a little more involved than the Ride 9 or Ride 4 system, as it requires a minor brake adjustment as well.
A good note here, if you're not confident in doing that or any of the other adjustments we talked about, your local bike shop would be happy to help you out. The last thing I wanted to touch on was the Dynami 4.0 motor used on Rocky's PowerPlay e-bikes. One huge advantage to the PowerPlay system it has over its competitors is that it's exclusive to them. They built the system to fit their bikes rather than the other way around. This ensures a complete all-around experience that can only come from this level of integration and planning. Could you give us some stats on that system, Ken?
Definitely. So the Dynami 4.0 motor offers a whopping 108 newton meters of torque and 700 watts of power, all while being smaller, lighter, quieter than the outgoing generation. The firmware is tuned perfectly for mountain biking, giving you the most power when you need it the most, like on steep climbs, but still allowing you to take it slow around tight corners and technical sections. The PowerPlay system uses the Jumbotron display integrated into the top tube to show current assist mode, battery level, speed, cadence, and more. It lives up to its name by taking up the width of the top tube so you can easily see all your info at a glance. Powering it all is a 720 watt-hour battery with the optional overtime pack that will bring the total battery capacity to over 1,000 watt-hours, which is some serious capacity made for all-day riding.
That is some serious capacity. Well, that's all we have on the tech side of things. As you can tell, a lot of thought went into not only designing these systems, but how they'll be used by the rider, giving the greatest combination of ride feel, usability, and durability. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today, Ken, and you be sure to keep an eye out for these awesome features while perusing the line.
It's always great to sit down with the people who know the product inside and out, and in Ken's case, design it. Check out Rocky Mountain at your local ERIK'S or at shoperiks.com.
Thanks for watching, and if you like that video, please give it a thumbs up. Have any questions? Leave them down below in the comments, and be sure to subscribe. See you next time.